Hello, we're going to do a little video. Basically, I'm going to talk once again about restrictive laws and the world of keeping reptiles. So basically, this is just kind of like a little bit of a meandering video where I'm just talking about something. So recently, USARC just noticed that in New Hampshire, we have new proposed legislation on incredibly restrictive animal regulations, and it's not just reptiles, it's cats, dogs, birds, leopard geckos, frogs, whatever. If you keep a pet in your home, you're basically subject to an intense scrutiny and regulation and an invasion of your privacy. It's called HB688. It's in New Hampshire. Right now it's being proposed, and essentially they're going to have the first meeting, which is going to be the 7th of February in one of the rooms at the State House. So basically, it's really alarming how these kind of laws actually occur. So basically, I'm just going to give you just a quick little synopsis of what the law would do. If you have a dog or a cat and you have any kind of pet, dog, cat, snake, leopard gecko, corn snake, frog, you would have to have a license. You have to be licensed for that animal in the state of New Hampshire. And that means you have to register with the state. So now the state knows what pet you actually have. And just I have a leopard gecko, and you need to probably purchase this license. So then you also have to way to basically ID the animal. So that's possibly pit tagging the animal or doing something like that. And then you have to have a record with the state, and then the state would now list you. And what's really interesting is when you have this animal or these animals, now you register with the state, they could come into your house whenever they want and basically check on the animals. They could search your house with no warrant. So basically this would give an open door access to your privacy. And so if you have a business, or if you just have a single house with 2 pets and stuff like that, they now have the ability to come in your house. What else is really interesting too, you're also subject to public scrutiny, whereas the public can now get records of all your animals. They can also find out exactly what you're doing, and this is just it's incredible. So if you have more than 30 animals, you need to have a special pet vendor license, and that special pet vendor license means that you're a dealer and you're a breeder. So right now in the state of New Hampshire, if I breed a cat or a dog, I need special licensing as it is. If I were to produce a litter of kittens or puppies, and if I was to sell them or actually place them, just so if I was going to donate them, basically I would have to have a license as a breeder, and then each one of those animals has to have a health certificate. So that means I have to go to the vet, and I have to make sure they're of age and they have the necessary shots and proof that they are healthy at that point that I adopt them out. So if I sell them, give them away, or whatever, I have to make sure that they meet these constraints that the state has designed. Now, what's interesting is like animal rescues, certainly Humane Society that have rescues, they don't have to have these health certificates. So I think a lot of times these animal welfare agencies are the ones that are proposing these laws, and basically it's against the private sector and commercial sector. And that means they have special privileges, while being a breeder and an animal keeper, hobbyist, whatever, you have to conform to these really intrusive, very stringent guidelines. So obviously what I'm telling you is very anecdotal. So that basically means you need to do a little bit of due diligence. I'm just finding out about this. I've been super just busy dealing with the day-to-days of the nerd, but I felt compelled that I wanted to start the ball rolling, because we've certainly heard USARC going on about python bans and all, anaconda bans and all this different stuff. And that's all real federal, but this is on a state level. So up in New England, where we're located, where kind of like the United States kind of started, it seems like, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Maine, all these different stuff where the first founding colonies were setting up, we have some of the most stringent laws. So it just seems like we've been here longer, so as time goes on, we spend more time dictating what kind of laws everybody should abide by. And obviously, big government is making the decisions how we live our lives and what we can do in our day-to-day lives, and I'm not really interested in having the government decide down to all these nuances of my existence. And I certainly think I behave in a very responsible fashion as far as reptile keeping. I love animals. I'm an animal fanatic, so it's really funny. So our enemies in a lot of cases are animal rights. I love animals. I love insects. I love all sorts of stuff. So I am a fanatic about animals. And what they do is these people come under this guise that they're all about animal welfare, but in reality, it's all about control, and they have their own twisted versions of things. If you start to look at like PETA and the National Humane Society, they have these really twisted versions of animals and what guidelines we should abide by. In fact, that a lot of these animals shouldn't even be kept. So here's one thing I just became aware of talking to my buddy Jason Ramondi. He was telling me about in upstate New York, so it's Buffalo, New York, some whack job was doing something where he had a kitten, and he said, if somebody doesn't take this kitten or adopt out this kitten, I'm going to feed it to my snake. Well, that got into the public eye. I guess it was put out on social media, and we know how fanatical that is and how people respond to things. It became this giant thing, and essentially what happened was it alerted authorities and state officials that this person has an animal that could eat a kitten. And so a lot of snakes have a bit of size to them where they could eat something like that. Not that we do that. That's insane. I could never even imagine that. But this person was threatening that, and if you're not an animal keeper, or if you don't keep snakes and you keep dogs and cats, you're going to have great empathy for something like a kitten, as I do. I keep cats. I love dogs, everything. So all these different things are very important. But to the people that don't keep these radical animals that we keep, it seems so extreme that we would actually want to keep all these pythons and all these boas and all these crocodilians and monitors and all these predators. So they naturally react hearing about this guy's a horrible snake keeper, and he's got these exotic animals, he's gonna feed a kitten to something. Well, that sounds outrageous. It really does. This guy, saying nobody should be allowed to have these animals in their home. There's no reason to have these animals in the home. So that's actually what's happening now in Buffalo, New York, is they're saying that these animals they don't qualify as pets. And nobody should, you shouldn't have these pets. There's no reason. Literally like they're like some savage monster that we're keeping in a cage, and they're really, they're dangerous. They're dangerous to children, they're dangerous to people, they're dangerous to the environment. There's all these crazy things that they can argue. And without good education and hearing our point of views, it's easy to villainize or demonize what we do in so many different ways. Even if we keep like a frog, they can just say, well, these frogs come with these diseases like chytric and such like that, which then could be spread into the environment, and then we would endanger our normal wildlife and fauna. So no matter what it is, whatever animal we're keeping, leopard, gecko, this, all different kind of stuff, we could come up with an argument against us easily, especially without education. So I guess my point is, we do have to, I try to, I goof around and stuff like that, and I'm like a metalhead and feel some heavy metal. Heavy metal's like death, destruction, and all that. I'm a musician, I play in a band, and I sing about death and destruction and all that. But, I like horror movies, and I like, dark things, but the reality is I don't like dark things like invasive government. I don't want to lose, we're losing our freedoms all the time. This world, we're just, human populations are just out of control. We're basically exhausting resources. We're spreading into every niche of the environment. It's unbelievable. And we're basically removing life. We're paving things over. So things are happening at an alarming rate. But now with that comes incredible repressive laws and restrictions. And so like an outfit like USARC, so that's USARC.org, is critical. We're all very aware of what's going on with them. We're all members. We donate because these laws, I don't care what state you're in, it's just a matter of time. They're gonna pop up. So USARC is really critical, and they exist to protect the rights of hobbyists, breeders, just animal lovers. This even goes into fish. There's so many restrictions going on with fish. I keep red-bellied piranha. I love fish. But right now there's all these restrictions on red-bellied piranha and gar and predatory fish and all this different stuff. A lot of times due to things, let's say like snakeheads, and what those things reap. But those snakeheads actually came in through the food markets, the Asian food markets, but whatever. I can easily go off, but I think my point is it's really important for us to behave in responsible fashions. Always, whenever we're doing anything socially, online, we're doing videos, any kind of things that could be perceived by the general public, we need to think that, well, if I do this and I show this, how am I presenting our industry? I mean, if you actually care about our industry, which is, I want to be able to keep corn snakes and ball pythons and a boa constrictor and a waxy monkey frog and a frill drag and all this different stuff. I want to keep these things, but the things that I do, in theory, could be very alarming and very outcrying to the public, into the public eye. So if I did something that was really malignant and I just didn't pay attention, and I did like live feed videos or something like that, we clearly know some of these animals are eating other animals, and I do love rodents, so I have a lot of empathy for them, and I think we need to be responsible and we need to be aware of how that is perceived. Now, so it's very easy to think about a snake eating a rodent, but when we go in the grocery store, we're literally in the house of horrors. Grocery store is filled with so much pain and suffering of all these animals that are now boxed in some happy, taco box or some kind of in a can with, smiling, chicken of the sea or anything like that. That, just the amount of pain and suffering that these animals have actually gone through to give the final sacrifice, which is their life, so we can eat them. But when we're in a grocery store, we don't tend to actually think about that. So it's much easier to repress all the human failures and what we do as far as endless animal cruelty on a day-to-day, minute-to-minute basis. We're causing mass extinction, we're eating everything, we're draining the oceans of life, we're killing the reefs, we're doing all these things. But it's very easy for us to think, oh, a snake eats a rodent, and then somebody goes and publicizes it on social media, and people get a video of it, and it's just some horrific thing. Let's say, I really strongly recommend everybody looks on YouTube and look at something called the Reptile Channel. But the Reptile Channel, that their entire channel is feeding living animals to reptiles. And like a mother rabbit is eaten by a monitor lizard, and then she has all her babies that get eaten by this monitor lizard. And the person doing this, if you actually go back and reverse engineer the purpose of that channel, they're disgusting in what they're trying to achieve. They're reveling off of sadism and people that want to watch the suffering of other animals and watching animals being eaten alive. But these kind of videos make us look terrible. I am so alarmed when I see these videos, and I can't believe that YouTube, this is so important, YouTube is allowing these kind of videos, the Reptile Channel with all these live feed videos. For some reason, it's not violating the terms of service, and they have all these followings. And if you actually start going to read the comments in some of these videos, you're watching these animals being eaten and suffering and all that, and there's this literal cruelty and people loving it and thinking it's great. I love watching things get eaten and all this different stuff like that. You're literally enjoying the pain and suffering of other animals. I'm not into that. I don't like it. It makes us look terrible. I hate it. And if I ever could get my hands on these people, if I could get away and do what I really want to do to somebody like that, they'd be really in bad shape. It's just brutal. But pulling back, these kind of videos can easily be used against us. Look at that. They got this giant lizard. They got this. They got all these different things. And these animals are escaping the environment. They're going to eat everything, and they're going to do, all this. We all know about the Burmese pythons in Florida and how it's been blown out of shape. And they're saying all the animals are vanishing because of Burmese pythons, but they can't find the Burmese pythons in large numbers and all this other stuff. But it's very easy to point fingers. And my point is, if we do something purposely or ignorantly stupid, and it gets out on social media, and it gets spread around, and then it gets into the eyes of officials who think that we're acting in a very unintelligent, unreasonable fashion, then we're setting up our entire industry for failure, and we're setting them up for all sorts of further laws and all that kind of stuff like that. So just trying to get people to think. I try to, education is our biggest tool. I love to educate people, not because I love people, because I love animals. I want to educate people about how amazing these remarkable animals are, and they need to be part of our lives, and we need to appreciate them, and they have a place in the wild, and all that different stuff like that. So it's all about appreciation. So if you show them an amazing animal and you open their mind, you get them to think, and then maybe they can do something that's positive. And therefore, you're doing something positive. You can actually generate a positive feel towards other people. So being responsible and just taking pause and thinking about what you're doing. But we need to at least band together. So in New Hampshire on February 7th, we're going to have this first meeting of this incredibly restrictive law. And it is being proposed and supported by both Democrats and Republicans who somehow think this is a good law. So I'll be there, insane. Hopefully I'll be a little bit finite in my upset level, and I can talk in a discreet, intelligent fashion. But it is very disheartening, and it's very upsetting. So I just started this video. Maybe I'll do more videos. I usually don't do videos where I'm in the video because I tend to want to move and stuff like that. So this has been a very hard video for me. I'm trying to sit still. So I just sitting still and trying to focus and just not be too erratic and stuff like that. But I hope there's a little bit of value to this. So I would really appreciate your comments. We want to start talking. We want to share this. This is important. And we just need to get the ball rolling. But if we're not talking, we can talk about, oh, look, Johnny's eating a cupcake today. Oh, look, somebody's eating sushi or whatever. I don't care about that. Social media to me is literally, for my needs, it is just about reptiles and getting people to think about things and doing all these things. And you know what? I can do something. Hold on. No. Let's see if I can get a cage. Hello. Let's see. What are you doing? All right. So I'll end this video with one little cute thing. Get back. Use this guy.
I am Snarfles. I am most cute. I have crazy googly eyes. All right. So you people, you need to get together and start talking and start thinking, because before long, the big nasty government wants to shut us down and won't let you have wonderful animals like me, Snarfles. All right, say goodbye, but keep talking and join USARC and make some noise, people. But be smart and sophisticated. Don't believe in the googly eyes. I must break you.